Hey, hello my Poke people, and welcome one and all to some more Sun and Moon theory discussion fun times. Honestly, I think at this point the internet has more than milked the proverbial cow dry when it comes to Sun and Moon stuff, but you know, we can squeeze a few more drops out of the husk. So what I want to do today is a little bit of a almost trio of talking points, and the first one of which is a Hawaiian animal and a Hawaiian plant that I think needs to be a Pokemon in the Alola region, and I think that because they are very interesting, and in the animal's case, so adorable. So let's start with the animal, the Hawaiian Bat, also known as the Hawaiian Bat, and this thing is just one of the best creatures. Like, I love bats as animals. Noivern is one of my favorite Pokemon, and the interesting thing about Bat is that there are only two native mammal species in Hawaii. Because the thing about Hawaii is it's so far away from everywhere, like really far away, like it's so isolated, it really is. So animals that evolved there did so rather uniquely because there wasn't really anything that was killing them, so they had effectively paradise until, of course, we introduced various species of animals that kind of messed with everything, wiped out 2/3 of the bird population and all other sorts of shenanigans that I'm not going to go into too much detail, but it's a very interesting place in terms of its wildlife, and the only two native mammals that it has going for it is the Hawaiian monk seal, aka Poplio, and this hoary bat. Now look at this thing. Is it not just the best? It's just awesome. So it's known for having this kind of frost like effect in its fur. You know, like when you wake up and it's been a freezing night and there's like a layer of frost on the ground? That's what it looks like, this bat. It looks like it's been rolling in caster sugar, and I just think that's fantastic. So apart from being such a unique, truly native Hawaiian animal, the reason I think this needs to be a Pokemon is because you can take that frosty look and have ourselves a excuse for an ice Pokemon in a Hawaii-based region, because obviously it's tropical and very warm, so ice Pokemon aren't going to do fantastically well here, so I doubt we're going to see many of them, but I think having a flying ice bat Pokemon that's got like heavy thick fur and is just kind of adorable, maybe not even give it an evolution, would just be a really cool thing to have, and I just really want to see it. The hoary bat should definitely be a Pokemon, and it's the top of the list for me when it comes to Hawaiian things that need to be one. The main contender that I do have, and this would be a plant Pokemon, is this awesome plant. Like, I love this thing. Look at it. It just looks so cool. And you know what this is? It is Silver Sword. Is that not a great name for a frickin' plant? It's so unusual. It blooms once every 40 years. 40 years! Like, what? That's insane. It's such a long life cycle, and it dies after it blooms for the first time in 40 years. So needless to say, it's a very cool sight to see a blooming Silver Sword plant, and I think this becoming a steel grass Pokemon would be incredible. You take the sword theme, you have loads of spiky, sheen-like, but clearly natural blades surrounding this central, serene plant-like figure, maybe a little bit humanoid in the center, like it's almost wearing a skirt made out of silver swords, that kind of thing. Think Lilligant, but like a knight type deal, and that would be really cool, because obviously plant steel isn't a very common combination. I can only really think of Ferrothorn off the top of my head, so it would be nice to have another one. So Silver Sword then, I think that would be neat. It's very interesting looking at Hawaiian species and culture. In fact, the whole area is fascinating, and I'm so happy they've made a Pokemon game based on it. I would really encourage you to look stuff up, because it is just really great. So then, the next part of what I want to talk about is actually to do with Rowlet and a little bit more of an information, because we did have the leak that suggested that the types of the final starters, and a lot of people have argued that based on the order of them, Rowlet actually should become ground and lose its flying type, and that Litten should stay pure fire. So I did entertain that notion, and I can honestly see why it makes sense. The order does suggest that, although I'd be a little bit disappointed because it does project grounded roly-poly owl, which is kind of sad. But the thing is, there is a owl species endemic to Hawaii, and it's the short-eared owl. And it does live a very grounded life. It nests on the ground, unlike a lot of owls. Maybe we have found Rowlet's actual real-life counterpart, the Hawaiian short-eared owl. That would make sense, because Populo's the Hawaiian monk seal, so we kind of got that going. I mean, yes, there's also strong sea lion elements, but it seems like native Hawaiian species are definitely influencing. I don't know, maybe it's something to think about, and maybe it does give credence to Litten staying pure fire and Rowlet actually becoming flying ground. Would you guys prefer that? Would you like it? I'm not sure. I don't want to be able to play football with my owl starter, okay? And then finally, just a couple quick things, honestly, and that is that Amazon, once again, in its legendariness, has, air quotes, spoiled some things when it comes to Sun and Moon. It's not massive things, and I'll be honest with you, it's things that we would have bloody guessed. In the Amazon description for the game, it says, explore the islands, plural, of the Alola region, so it's very easy to confirm that there are multiple islands. And anyone who didn't think that is being silly anyway. There is no way the tiny little island we got in the trailer is the entire thing. Interestingly enough, looking at the actual Hawaiian Islands, you can sync the map of Alola that we got from the trailer with the area around the crater that the crater in the map is based on quite nicely, and I would almost definitely say that after at most the first gym, you take a boat from the city-looking area, which represents Honolulu, the biggest city in the Hawaiian Islands, and then you take a boat over to the further islands, probably the biggest one, and continue on your journey. That just makes sense to me, so we have that going. So just a real quick thing to finish off while we're on the topic of Amazon. It's more an observation than anything else. The Sun and Moon official strategy guide is up there, and it has 352 pages. Interestingly enough, the collector's edition version of it has like 40 extra pages. I guess it's just 40 pages congratulating you on being a collector's edition owner. But to me, that seems a hefty amount, right, for a guidebook. So either the game is massive, or maybe this could mean there is actually 150 new Pokemon, so there's a lot of extra pages dedicated to a Pokedex in there, potentially? Obviously, this is just complete, I'm guessing based on page numbers in a strategy guide, that's my life. Obviously, to corroborate this a little bit, I went and looked at the black and white one, which has 256 pages, which is significantly less, you know, and that kind of gives hope to a much more in-depth, complicated game with Sun and Moon. But then again, we have the X and Y one, which is 416. Now, the X and Y one, granted, is the official region guidebook, which is a little bit different, but then it's also the official Pokemon strategy guide afterwards. So I don't know if this was just a heftier version, but either way, it has more pages than the Sun and Moon one, despite having 80 new Pokemon. So at that point, I mean, what do I even take from that? Granted, X and Y probably had the biggest amount of new stuff to tell people, from the jump from Gen 5 to the 3D Gen 6, customization, Mega Evolution, a lot of new stuff there to fill pages, so who knows if we can discount that. And then, you know, the ultimate spanner in the works is the Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire official Hoenn strategy guide, has 480 pages. Talking about what? I don't know. So really, I think what I can summarize is that this can tell us absolutely nothing apart from that Sun and Moon should be quite an in-depth experience, because it's got more than Black and White, and Black and White was a new 150, new region, new everything. So at the very least, it should be bigger and better than Gen 5 was. That's basically all I got for you. But I would love your opinions on if you can make anything more than the from page numbers from a strategy guide. I'd love to see if any of you guys come up with theories based on something as technically insignificant as this. I know it's silly, but you know, it's a little bit of fun and something we can look at. So there you go, guys. A little bit of a quick various thoughts I've been having Sun and Moon wise. We have our next actual official info being released on the 2nd of next month, so so that's exciting. I will have a video up on that as soon as possible, and obviously lots of theories to come, but for now, like if you've enjoyed this, guys. It really helps my channel out and helps more people see it, and if you like this kind of stuff and want it more, then that's the way to go. Obviously, only if you did actually like it, you know, that I would never want you to be disingenuous with it. So, there you have it. My name's been Rage. I'll see you next time. Oh, goodbye.